Welcome, the anointed ones. Who told you that time was your enemy when in fact it was your disguise? Let that sit for a second. Because, chosen ones, there's a reason why people stare at you like they've just seen a glitch in the Matrix. Why they whisper behind your back like you're holding a secret potion or some forbidden knowledge. You don't look your age. You don't act your age. And if we're being honest, you don't even feel your age. And that's not by accident. It's by divine design. Here's a fact to chew on. The human body is made of 37.2 trillion cells. And every single one of yours has been through spiritual warfare, betrayal, deep isolation, and trauma most people wouldn't survive. And yet somehow, you still glow, still attractive, still radiant, still standing. Now let's be real. While your classmates are complaining about back pain, early wrinkles, and midlife crises, you're out here looking like you drank from the fountain of, what the hell is their skincare routine? Plot twist. It's called healing, hydration, and Holy Ghost upgrades. So let's get into it. Because in this video, we're unpacking why your looks and your age are shocking people into silence, and why your existence is starting to expose everything they thought they knew about time, beauty, and divine preservation. Buckle up. This ain't surface level. You're about to find out that your reflection isn't just defying time. It's telling the truth about who you really are. Number 1. You reversed biological decay with spiritual alignment. Most people try to look young by focusing on the outside. Creams, surgeries, filters, gym routines. They believe youth is something you can paint on or inject. But chosen ones operate differently. Your youth doesn't come from what you put on your body. It comes from what you allowed to flow through it. While the world obsessed over appearances, you focused on alignment. And that spiritual alignment, it recalibrated your entire system from the inside out. Your cells, your skin, your energy, they're not just surviving, they're vibrating on a higher frequency. That's why people are confused. They're seeing your face and trying to do the math in their heads, but the numbers don't add up. They're looking at someone who's technically older, but glowing like someone who's just entering their prime. It makes no logical sense to them, because it's not logical, it's spiritual. You've tapped into something that most people don't even believe is real, and the proof is right there, written all over your body. You don't just look good for your age. You look untouched by the usual wear and tear of life. Not because you haven't been through hell, but because you didn't stay there. You healed, you let go. You faced your darkness instead of covering it up. That internal work sent signals to your body. We're safe now. And your body responded by regenerating, not deteriorating. What they're really seeing is the result of a soul that chose to align instead of conform. That's a rare glow, not because it's impossible, but because so few people ever truly reach it. Most people burn themselves out chasing validation. You turned inward and became a vessel for truth, peace, and divine timing. That's why you don't age like they do. You're not aging on a worldly clock. You're aging on a divine timeline that doesn't subtract years but multiplies purpose. And that kind of beauty doesn't wrinkle, fade, or expire. It evolves. Number 2. You mastered emotional alchemy. That's why you don't wear trauma on your face. Most people wear their pain on their face whether they realize it or not. You can see it in the way they walk, the way their eyes avoid contact, the way their skin tightens from years of holding in rage, betrayal, and disappointment. Trauma doesn't just live in the mind, it embeds itself in the body. But you, chosen one, didn't let that happen. You went through the kind of pain that should have left permanent marks. You were lied to, manipulated, abandoned, and in some cases completely destroyed. But you didn't store that pain. You transformed it. You alchemized it. And that's why you don't wear it. While others stayed bitter, you chose to process your emotions instead of burying them. You faced them. You cried when no one was watching. You screamed in silence. You prayed with your entire soul. That kind of emotional honesty is rare, and it's what saved you. Instead of hardening, you softened, but with power, not weakness. You became transparent with yourself, and that authenticity reset your nervous system. Your face, your skin, your presence, it's not just pretty, it's peaceful. That's what's throwing people off. People are used to seeing age mixed with bitterness. But when they look at you, they see clarity, they see peace, and they don't know what to do with it because they've never seen someone your age so emotionally light. They expect damage, they expect stress lines, but you did the inner work. That glow you have is a result of what you let go of, not what you held on to. You could have turned cold. You could have shut everyone out. But you made a decision to keep your heart open without letting it be abused. That choice didn't just save your soul, it rewired your biology. That's why you don't look like what you've been through. You metabolized pain and turned it into wisdom, and now your presence alone speaks volumes. You didn't age through trauma, you transcended it. Number 3, you stopped time when you stopped performing for the matrix. Most people age fast because they're constantly performing for systems that were never built for their peace. They wake up every day trying to keep up with society's expectations, hustling to impress, conform, and survive. But you, chosen one, made a choice most people never dare to make. You stopped performing. You unplugged from the matrix. You stopped chasing the approval of a world that's addicted to image and obsessed with noise. And when you did that, something wild happened. Time stopped aging you the way it used to. When you stopped pretending to be who they wanted you to be, your energy stopped leaking. That energy, the same one that once kept you stuck in survival mode, started to return to you. You were no longer drained by fake relationships, pointless competition, or constant comparison. That peace you fought so hard to protect didn't just help your mind. It began restoring your body. While others were wearing themselves out to be accepted, you were choosing solitude, clarity, and authenticity. And that choice literally slowed down the aging process. You weren't caught in the cycles that exhaust the soul, the social climbing, the overachieving, the chasing of trends. You let go of the world's version of success and chose alignment over performance. And because of that, your face looks rested. Your skin looks calm. Your presence doesn't feel frantic. People can't put their finger on it, but you feel untouched by the stress they consider normal. What they don't know is that you paid the price for that peace. Through isolation, through rejection, through starting over. But now the result of that sacrifice is showing. You're not aging the way they are because you're not carrying what they carry. You're not stuck in the cycle. You're not on the same clock. You've reclaimed your time, your energy, and your identity. And it's written all over you. While others burned out performing, you tapped into something divine by simply being. And that's why they're stunned when they see you. You don't look like someone who played by their rules, and you didn't. Number 4, they thought age would be your decline, but it's your ascension portal. They assumed your glow would fade with time. They expected your confidence to shrink, your body to betray you, and your relevance to dry up quietly like everyone else who peaks early and fizzles out. That's the script society writes for most people. You shine in your 20s, start fading by your 30s, and become invisible by your 40s and beyond. But you, chosen one, completely shattered that narrative. The older you got, the more dangerous you became, not because you tried harder, but because you stopped trying altogether. You stopped seeking validation. You stopped shrinking yourself to fit in. And that inner freedom started radiating outward. Your posture changed. Your voice deepened in truth. Your presence became heavier, but in a way that commands respect without needing to demand it. You grew into yourself. You stopped apologizing. And with every year, instead of breaking down, you broke through. What they didn't realize is that your youth was never your final form. It was just the blueprint. You weren't built to fade. You were built to unfold. So now they're watching you enter what they thought would be your decline, only to realize they're looking at the main event. That glow, that grace, that confidence. It didn't come from products or praise. It came from survival, from healing, from knowing your worth without anyone needing to co-sign it. They don't understand how someone who's been through so much can still look this powerful, this grounded, this magnetic. But that's the thing. You didn't age. You ascended. You unlocked levels of beauty, wisdom, and energy that don't exist in youth. They only appear after the fire, after the rejection, after the rebirth. You weren't supposed to just get older. You were meant to become. And now that you've arrived, you're not just looking good. You're looking divine. Number 5. You didn't just preserve yourself, you regenerated. Most people think the best you can do is slow aging down, maybe hold on to what you've got and hope for the best. But you, chosen one, didn't just hold on. You reversed the damage. You didn't preserve yourself like some frozen version of your past self. You rebuilt yourself from the ground up. That's the part that's throwing people off. They expected wear and tear. They expected you to come out of those storms looking depleted and exhausted. But instead, you emerged looking like you've been upgraded, like time paid you back with interest. And here's the truth they'll never understand. It wasn't the skincare. It wasn't the gym. It wasn't good genes. It was the solitude. It was those long, silent seasons where you were cut off from everything and everyone, wondering if God forgot about you. While they were running from stillness, you were buried in it, and it almost broke you. But it didn't. It refined you. It activated parts of your soul that had been lying dormant. You didn't just heal emotionally, you triggered deep cellular regeneration through spiritual alignment. Stress breaks people down. Self-abandonment weakens their aura. But you chose the path of isolation. And instead of letting it make you bitter, you let it make you holy. You went inward and found your power. You reconnected with Source, redefined your worth, and dismantled every false identity you were forced to wear. That process wasn't pretty, it was lonely, it was quiet, but it was sacred. And your body felt it. You came back from that isolation glowing. Not just mentally stronger, but physically different. You don't just look good. You look untouched by the chaos you survived. That's what regeneration looks like. Not a return to who you were, but a transformation into who you were always meant to be. While others cracked under the pressure, you were being restructured in silence. And now, your presence speaks for itself. You're not just surviving time, you're rewriting it. Number 6. You refuse to be consumed by bitterness, and it shows. Bitterness ages people more than time ever could. You can see it in their eyes, the dullness, the heaviness, the way their face holds onto every grudge like it's part of their identity. Bitterness creeps in slowly, hardens the heart, tenses the body, and leaves its imprint on the skin. Most people don't even know it's eating them alive, but you did. And that's what sets you apart. You had every reason to let it in. People betrayed you, abandoned you, lied to you, tried to break you, and no one would have blamed you if you turned cold. But you didn't. You refused. You made a decision to protect your soul at all costs, not for them, but for you. Because you knew deep down that carrying resentment would cost you more than anything they did to you. You didn't want to be a walking wound. You didn't want to age into someone who smiled on the outside but silently seethed on the inside. So you let it go. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. That choice purified your spirit. And when the spirit is clean, the body reflects it. That's why you don't just look young, you look light. You don't carry that weight in your jaw, your shoulders, your eyes. You look like someone who has peace, not because life was fair, but because you refused to let life poison you. You learned the power of surrender, of protecting your frequency, of choosing joy, not because you were handed it, but because you fought for it. People don't expect forgiveness to look like that. They think it's weakness. But in you, they see something divine. They see a quiet authority that can't be faked. They don't know that your glow comes from spiritual discipline, that your peace came with a price, and that choosing not to be bitter was the most powerful anti-aging decision you ever made. Number 7, you've starved parasites. That's why you look so different now. You used to walk around tired for no reason, not just sleepy, drained, like your life force was being siphoned off in secret, and it was. Because you were surrounded by people who didn't come to love you. They came to feed off you. They needed your light, your attention, your empathy, your constant availability. They weren't trying to grow with you. They were trying to survive through you. And for a long time you let them. Not out of weakness, but out of loyalty, out of heart. You thought it was love. But it was actually leakage. And then came the moment that changed everything. You cut the cord. When you finally said enough, your body felt it before your mind did. You slept deeper. Your face softened. Your glow came back. Because those energy parasites weren't just messing with your spirit. They were slowly draining your physical vitality. Your nervous system was always in overdrive, trying to sense their moods, fix their chaos, or walk on eggshells. That stress ages people fast. But when you detached, your whole system exhaled for the first time in years. And the result was undeniable. You started looking like yourself again, not the version of you who was overextending, overgiving, and constantly rescuing people who had no intention of changing. Your skin looked clearer. Your eyes became sharper. You weren't surviving anymore. You were reclaiming. Because when you stopped feeding everyone else's demons, you finally had the energy to nourish your own soul. That's why you look different now. That's why people are shocked when they see you. You're not being used anymore. Your energy is yours again. And it's showing. The same people who once fed off you are now wondering what happened. How you got so radiant, so rested, so magnetic. The truth? You didn't just change your circle, you closed the buffet. Number 8. You reclaimed your true identity, and your body followed. Living a lie doesn't just mess with your mind, it warps your entire being. And for a long time, you were carrying identities that were never truly yours. The obedient child, the people pleaser, the overachiever, the fixer, the silent one, roles you were either forced into or thought you had to play just to survive. But those roles came at a cost. Your body knew something was off. It tensed up. It dimmed itself. It wore the weight of pretending. And even if you looked put together on the outside, something always felt off on the inside, like your reflection wasn't telling the whole story. That's because it wasn't you. Then something inside snapped, or maybe clicked. You got tired of bending, tired of smiling through discomfort, tired of being palatable, digestible, safe. And little by little, you started stripping off the layers. You questioned the scripts you were handed. You reclaimed your voice, your emotions, your sexuality, your culture, your truth. And with every layer of false identity that fell away, something beautiful began to surface. You. And your body? It noticed. Your posture changed, your walk changed, your face lit up with a kind of power that only comes from someone who knows who the hell they are. Your skin started reflecting alignment. Your voice carried more weight, your presence shifted, because you were no longer performing. You were embodying. And embodiment doesn't just look good, it radiates. That's why you look like someone who's been reborn, because in many ways you have been. You released the lie, and your body released the burden. You stopped carrying shame that wasn't yours. You stopped contorting yourself to fit in. And now you look lighter, freer, fuller. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally returned to who you were always meant to be. And the glow that people keep talking about? That's not skincare, that's truth. Number 9. You walked through fire without smelling like smoke. People look at you now and wonder how you do it. How you walk with such ease, grace, and unshakable confidence despite everything you've been through. They know the stories, the battles, the fire you walked through. And yet when they look at you, they see nothing but light, no scars, no bitterness, no sign that you were ever touched by the flames. It doesn't add up in their minds. They expected you to be burned, marked, hardened, but instead, you emerged with a radiance that makes them question everything they thought they knew about survival. What they don't understand is that you didn't just survive, you transcended. While others crumble under pressure, becoming bitter and worn by the storms of life, you emerged whole. It wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence, it was divine preservation. You were protected. The fire that others feared, that others would have let consume them, became the furnace that purified you, shaped you, and made you stronger. Every trial, every betrayal, every heartbreak was an opportunity for refinement, not destruction. The pain didn't destroy your spirit, it clarified it. And because you walked through the flames with your soul intact, with your integrity and peace still unshaken, you don't carry the residue that others do. No bitterness, no anger, no victimhood. Those are the things that cling to people and age them faster than any wrinkle ever could. But you refused to let it stick. You didn't let the fire consume your essence. You let it burn away everything that wasn't truly you. Now, you walk through the world unbothered, untouchable, and more radiant than ever. And while people are still trying to figure out how you emerged so untouched, you know the truth. The fire didn't ruin you. It was the very thing that prepared you to shine. Number 10. You were hidden for a season so you could age without corruption. While the world raced toward fame and validation, you were placed in a quiet cocoon, a space where no one could touch you, where your true essence could grow undisturbed. People couldn't see it, and they certainly didn't understand it. To them, you seemed invisible, irrelevant, even forgotten. But what they didn't realize was that you were being protected, shielded from the premature exposure that so many people fall victim to. While others were thrust into toxic relationships, fast-tracked to fame, or exposed to a world that chews up the unprepared, you were being carefully cultivated, like a rare plant in a hidden garden. That season of isolation wasn't punishment, it was divine protection. While the world moved at its chaotic pace, you were incubating. You weren't rushed. You weren't forced to conform to someone else's timeline. You were given space to mature, to evolve, to strengthen your foundation before you were put under the spotlight. And when you finally emerged from that cocoon, people were stunned. You didn't just look different, you looked untouched. You looked like someone who had been through the fire but had come out unscathed. What they don't know is that all those years of being hidden from the limelight, all those moments of being overlooked, were the very thing that preserved your beauty, your mind, and your spirit. While others were already worn down by exposure, dealing with the weight of fame or unhealthy relationships, you were growing stronger, wiser, and more radiant in your seclusion. You didn't have to deal with the corruption that comes with early success, the disillusionment that ages people prematurely. You were given the time to evolve into your most powerful self without the distractions of the world. And now that you've re-emerged, they don't know how to process it. They don't know how you've come back stronger, younger, and more magnetic. The truth? You didn't age, you leveled up. And the protection you were given was the greatest gift of all. Now they're watching you, confused as you show them exactly what real, undisturbed growth looks like. Number 11. You disobeyed culture's rules, and it preserved your essence. You could have followed the crowd. You could have given in to the pressure to chase youth, to stay in the race with everyone else, constantly trying to prove your worth through what you owned, how you looked, or who you hung out with. But you didn't. While society was obsessed with chasing moments of fleeting pleasure, shallow status, and constant distraction, you took a step back. You opted out of the hustle for external validation, the endless pursuit of the next trend, the artificial markers of success that only leave people drained and dissatisfied. You didn't worship youth the way the world told you to. You didn't let culture dictate your worth based on looks or fleeting moments of external recognition. You weren't at every party, running with every trend, seeking approval from empty circles. You weren't chasing the next best thing just because it was trendy. Instead, you chose to focus on what mattered. You invested your energy into things that nourished your soul, your growth, and your peace. You took time for real connection, real healing, and real moments that allowed you to evolve naturally. By stepping outside of the typical narrative, you preserved something deeper, your essence. While everyone else was running themselves ragged, trying to keep up, you were quietly protecting your spirit. The world promised beauty, but only delivered burnout. It promised freedom, but led to exhaustion. You saw through that. Your rebellion wasn't against something as simple as fashion or fame. It was a rebellion against losing yourself. And that choice didn't just protect your time. It preserved your soul's freshness. Now, while others are worn out, caught up in cycles of comparison and shallow pursuits, you stand as a testament to the power of living outside of cultural expectations. You're fresh, you're whole. You're still grounded in your truth. And you don't look a day older than when you first made the decision to prioritize yourself over the noise. Your disobedience wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was your key to timelessness. Number 12. You aged with consciousness, not chronology. While many people focus on the outside, chasing external markers of beauty, following trends, and looking for ways to stay young, you've been on an entirely different journey. You didn't age according to the calendar. You aged by choice, by awareness, by deliberate growth. While others were obsessed with staying in the same place, clinging to youth like a badge of honor, you let time work its magic in the most profound way. You allowed it to shape your spirit. Every year wasn't just another number for you. It was another layer of wisdom, another shift in consciousness. You didn't just accumulate years. You accumulated understanding. Each challenge you faced, every heartache, every lesson, deepened you. Your growth wasn't linear. It wasn't about just surviving or enduring. It was about evolving. Each passing year brought more clarity, more peace, more self-awareness. You looked at life through a different lens. You didn't just go through the motions, you transformed with each experience, unlocking deeper layers of who you truly are. That's why you don't look like everyone else. While your peers are aging based on the standard narrative, caught in the cycle of consumption, constantly seeking outside fixes for inside problems, you aged through ascension. You didn't just grow older, you grew wiser, more whole, and more connected to your true self. The depth you've gained is reflected in your energy, your presence, your vibration. People feel it when they're around you. That calm, that knowing, that sense of peace and confidence that comes from being in tune with your soul. And as a result, you don't just look young in the way society defines it. You look alive, vibrant, and radiant in a way that transcends the physical. The aging process that others fear and try to resist is something you've embraced, because you've learned that real youthfulness comes from inside. It's a product of conscious living, not chronology, and that's why you stand out. Number 13. You don't look your age because you weren't allowed to live it. For so many years you were forced to live in a constant state of defense. You didn't have the luxury of living freely or recklessly like some. You were busy carrying the weight of others' needs, shielding yourself from harm, or trying to earn acceptance that was never truly yours to begin with. You were always playing catch-up, always in a state of survival, never given the space to breathe, to relax, to simply be. Time passed, yes, but you didn't get the chance to live it the way you were meant to. You weren't allowed the carefree moments that others had, the space to just grow and experience life without the burden of constant struggle. You didn't get to live like your peers, carefree and untethered. No, you were busy protecting yourself, holding others together, pushing through just to get by. And because of that, life didn't exactly take the shape you'd expected. It wasn't the free-flowing journey of joy and exploration. It was more like running a marathon with weights strapped to your body. But now God is returning what was stolen from you. Those years of lost joy, of freedom, of living authentically, are coming back to you in ways that you never imagined. What others saw as time wasted or lost is now showing up on your face in the most radiant, effortless way. The years didn't show up as signs of regret or burden. They've arrived with clarity, peace, and vitality. The weight that you once carried, the toll it took on your body and soul, has transformed into a lightness, a beauty that only comes from being released from the past. Now that you've reclaimed yourself, now that you've stopped performing for survival and started living for you, the years are no longer a measure of hardship. They're a testimony to your resilience, your strength, and your rebirth. You don't look like someone who's been through the fire. You look like someone who has bloomed because of it. The energy, the joy, and the freedom that was once stolen from you are now shining through every part of you, and that's why you look ageless. Because the years that you couldn't live freely before have now returned as a radiant gift. Number 14. Your body is reflecting a soul that has no expiration date. You've always known there was something deeper to you than what the eye could see. While the world fixates on age as a countdown, a gradual process of inevitable decay, you've been tapping into something far more profound. A timelessness that doesn't follow the rules of this physical realm. Your body doesn't reflect the usual patterns of aging because your soul doesn't operate on the same timeline. You've unlocked a connection to something eternal, something that exists beyond the physical limits of time and space. The truth is, your soul doesn't age. It doesn't wrinkle, sag, or fade with the years. It only expands, grows, and deepens, evolving in ways that the world can't quite comprehend. That's why you don't look like your age. You're not defying time in the way people often think. You've transcended it. You've moved beyond its grasp and aligned yourself with a frequency that doesn't measure worth in years or appearances. The way you carry yourself, the energy you radiate, and the clarity in your eyes all reflect this spiritual truth. Time has no hold on you, and people feel it when they're around you. It's almost as if you're from a different dimension, untouched by the same forces that age and wear down others. You're not following the laws of physical decay. You've ascended to a level where those laws simply don't apply. What they perceive as a miracle is simply the natural result of your deep spiritual connection. Your soul's essence is undisturbed by the passage of time. That's why you don't look the way they expect you to. You've tapped into something that transcends the material world. Your body is just the vessel carrying an ageless, eternal spirit, and it shows. People can't quite figure it out because they're looking for the secret in the physical, when the truth is, your radiance comes from the soul that is limitless, unchanging, and beyond time. In the end, what truly sets you apart isn't just the way you look, it's the depth, the wisdom, and the untold strength that emanates from your very being. Your timelessness is not an accident, nor is it a superficial victory against the march of years. It's a testament to the work you've done within yourself, the battles you've fought, the truths you've uncovered, and the spiritual journey you've undertaken. While the world chases fleeting moments of external validation and attempts to hold on to youth as if it's a treasure to be hoarded, you found something far greater. An ageless soul, a radiant energy that only grows more powerful with time. You've navigated the hardships, the challenges, and the isolation, and each experience has refined you rather than wearing you down. Your beauty isn't just skin deep. It's the result of a life well lived, a spirit unbroken, and a heart that refuses to surrender to bitterness. What others see as your youthful glow is actually the reflection of your inner peace, your clarity, and your unshakable understanding that life isn't about resisting time. It's about embracing its lessons and growing with it. So, as they wonder how you've defied the laws of aging, know that the secret isn't in avoiding time. It's in transcending it. You've become a living, breathing example of what happens when you allow your soul to evolve, when you prioritize the nourishment of your spirit over the demands of the material world. And in doing so, you've unlocked the kind of beauty that doesn't fade, the kind that only deepens and shines brighter as the years go by. This is your truth, this is your gift, and the world may never fully understand it, but that's okay. You're not here to fit into their expectations. You're here to show them what's possible when you choose to evolve, to ascend, and to live with a soul that has no expiration date. If this message resonated with you and you felt the power of your own timelessness, then don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel so you can stay connected with more content that reminds you of your incredible worth and potential. Hit that like button if you felt empowered and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Share this with someone who needs to hear this truth because, believe me, there's someone out there waiting to hear that their soul, just like yours, is eternal. Let's keep spreading the light, the wisdom, and the timeless energy together. Keep shining. God bless you.